Alright, Schlockmeister fans, just picked this movie up. Never seen this movie before, actually. It's The Changeling from 1980. Let's check it out. George C. Scott and his family pushing their car.
More. Don't quit now.
Oh, my father.
Oh, it's only a couple million more miles.
And then the unthinkable happens. Well, he's a composer, and he's going to move to Seattle to do a little bit of teaching and some writing.
Thanks for everything.
Oh, come on. Everyone's very excited about you being here.
A well-known alumnus and distinguished composer like you.
When was the house last occupied?
He stays at this old mansion.
About 12 years ago. It's been with the Historical Society for the past 12 years.
That's Trish Vanderveer, his real-life wife at the time. He may not be alone in this house, though.
And unless there's a fire in some other part of the building that we don't know about, an awful lot of people here with nothing better to do. However,
One night he's awakened to the weird sound of pounding. And then doors open up by themselves.
too loud, too rhythmic.
The pounding again.
Well, it's starting at least.
Why would it happen 2 mornings in a row?
He finds some water running into a tub. And then a ghostly image.
Why should anyone object?
That house is not fit to live in. No one's been able to live in it. It doesn't want people.
Well, and he finds the door that was kind of blocked off. He's determined to get up there. Well, the door leads to the attic, which clearly hasn't had anybody in there in quite some time. Looked like an old bedroom with a wheelchair in it. Documents going back to 1909. He found a music box up there that played something that he just wrote.
What do you think?
I don't know. It's a startling coincidence.
So who used to live there?
A man named Bernard, adopted.
Do you have any children, do you know?
I believe a son and a daughter. There was some kind of family tragedy, I think.
They find the record of a girl who died.
Mr. Bernard succumbed in St. Margaret's Hospital to injuries sustained in a February 15th accident. What is it doing? Why is it trying to reach me?
John,
Is it because of my daughter? I can't go through all this again.
After that ball bounced down the steps coming out of nowhere, he takes it and tosses it over a bridge. But when he comes home, it's time to contact some psychics and have a seance.
You lost a wife and child. The presence in this house is reaching out to you through that loss. Are you the child killed by the cold heart?
So that little girl who died, it's not the ghost in this house.
Joseph?
He reveals his name to be Joseph. Listen closely.
What is your name?
Then we see what happened, a flashback to the early 1900s in which Joseph, a sickly boy, was drowned by his father.
And then the substitute, a 6-year-old orphan, was put in his place, shipped right overseas right away.
Apparently he switched sons and got a new son to replace the sickly one, and nobody knew. So he visits a property once owned by the same people who owned that house. The father who killed his son.
Very small, very thin, almost gnome-like. And he was trying to come up through the floor.
They saw a ghostly image of a boy. The girl in this house saw that image of that boy come up through the floor. There used to be a well on that property, and he thinks that's where the kid got dumped. The woman gives him permission to dig, and right underneath that room they find a well. And inside that well is a boy's hand. After the police leave, he goes back in somehow, and he finds a medallion that crawls out of the earth. Well, the replacement boy is Melvin Douglas, a very old U.S. Senator now. And John tries to reach him. The senator recognized that medallion because he's got one just like it. John comes home to all the doors being slammed in the house, and he ain't happy about it.
Son of a bitch. Now,
John Calicos from Battlestar Galactica is the cop.
You got something of the senator's. He wants it back.
The senator called
A little
him.
gold medal, a family heirloom. He lost it.
After the cop leaves, this happens.
I was driving by and I recognized the car. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how it could have happened. There are no other cars. There's nothing. And it's upside down in the middle of the road. It's that man, that policeman who was just at your house. DeWitt, he's dead.
Explanation.
The senator agrees to meet with John. John tells him he knows everything.
The boy was badly crippled. I believe he was killed in an attic room of that house. Cured miraculously and returned to inherit an empire. That changeling was you. Out of here. Filthy lies. I should have gone to that dead child. You suspected something was wrong all your life. You're not Joseph Carmichael. You're the beneficiary of the cruelest kind of murder. Murder for profit. No!
He leaves everything behind.
Take it, I've done what I had to do.
A tape of the seance. I think he leaves the medallion there also. He doesn't want anything from the senator. Trish Vanderveer shows up at the house and finds herself immediately chased by the wheelchair. John shows up, rescues Trish, gets her out of the house, but takes a tumble himself. While he's laying on the ground, the senator's having some issues back at his place, and next thing you know, we see a projection of the senator in the house. Everything comes to a head. The house burns to the ground, but a few things remain. All right, let's talk about The Changeling. Now, this is one of these movies that for some reason it eluded me all these years. It came out in 1980. I know it showed up on cable back in the 80s when I was a kid, and I saw the listing for it. I just never saw it. Never really understood what it was or knew anything about it. But over the years, you keep seeing lists of like top horror films from the 80s or top horror films from whatever, and The Changeling is always on there somewhere. And I always thought, I gotta watch that movie someday, and finally I did. This is the first time I've ever owned this movie in my collection in any way, shape, or form. Severin had a sale recently. This is a relatively new Blu-ray, and I finally picked it up. So anyway, stars George C. Scott as John Russell, I think was his name, and Trisha Vanderveer, his real-life wife. Movie starts out, he has this horrible accident where his wife and daughter got run over by their own car, really, after got hit by a truck. So he's a musician, a composer, and to, I guess, drown his sorrows, he moves from the East Coast over to Seattle, where he's going to move into this old, rickety old mansion to basically write some new stuff. He's also going to do a little teaching nearby. But once he moves into this house, he starts hearing strange noises. The piano moves or plays a note by itself. Doors open up. He hears this weird pounding in the morning on successive days, and a ball bounces down the steps. Clearly there's something going on in this house, a ghost, a specter, whatever, who knows. So he takes this ball that rolled down the steps, takes it out somewhere, throws it off a bridge to get rid of it, and when he comes back to the house, the ball is there again, bouncing down the steps. So he then has a seance. They find out that there was a little boy named Joseph who apparently died in this house years earlier. So he does a little investigation, and he finds out that there was a sickly child named Joseph who I think was like 6, 7 years old or something, like maybe 8 or 9, I don't know. He was in a wheelchair, and he was the only son of this guy, and there was a wealthy family, and the son was going to inherit everything on his 21st birthday, unless there were no heirs. If there were no heirs, or if the son died, all the money would go to charity or something like that. And the guy, the owner of this house, apparently would lose it. I don't know exactly how this works. Was it a trust? I don't know. But so anyway, he realizes that the only way to keep the money in the family is if, because he doesn't think this kid's going to live to be 21 years old. So he drowns the kid in the bathtub, gets a new kid from overseas, immediately sends him off to some, he got, by a new kid, I mean he adopted somebody, sent him off to a boarding school somewhere, and he was gone until he was 18. By the time he came back, nobody would be the wiser that it's not the same kid. He was miraculously cured overseas, whatever. So he suddenly had a new heir. Now that new heir is a senator, played by Melvin Douglas, who's a very old man now. George C. Scott seeks him out because he finds the body of the child that was killed. He ended up going to this other property where the house owner used to own, and found a well underneath the house that's there now. And they dug down and found a body down there. And he also found this little medallion, which is the same medallion the senator wears. So the senator is freaked out by this. He invites George C. Scott to the house, and he thinks he's trying to blackmail him at first. And George C. Scott tells him everything he knows. He denies it. My father's not a murderer. He was a kind man, blah, blah, blah. But eventually comes around to realize that, yeah, that is exactly what happened. George C. Scott goes back to the house. The house kind of flips out on him. Next thing you know, something is happening to the senator. It looks like he's having a heart attack or something, but we see his spectral image in the house going up the stairs. Senator apparently dies. The house explodes. George C. Scott got out of there just in time. And that's pretty much our movie. The next day, the house is gone except for the wheelchairs there, and as is this music box. So that is The Changeling. Now, again, I'd never seen this movie before, and I liked it. It was pretty cool. I'd like to see it a couple more times just to get a feel for it, but it did have some genuine chills in it. The pounding is really cool. It kind of reminded me of the movie The Haunting from 1963. The ball bouncing down the stairs was kind of creepy too, and just the whole image of the drowned boy in the bathtub, his image keeps popping up all over the place. It's kind of cool. So, but yeah, that is The Changeling. I do like this movie. In fact, somebody actually recommended watching this about a month ago, and I said, well, just give me some time. I have it ordered. It's on its way, and it has arrived as of last week. So anyway, that is The Changeling. Really cool, nice Blu-ray here put out by Severin. Severin is damn good company. This was part of their Memorial Day sale, I think it was. So anyway, I'm glad to have it. So anyway, check it out. A lot of cool extras on here, some audio commentary, making of, all kinds of good shit. So anyway, check out The Changeling. Let me know what you think about it. Leave some comments down below. It's The Changeling. Watch it. Bye.